Moose, and I'm an addict.
Hey, Moose.
What's up, guys? I am joined here by the man, the recovery Buddha, Kevin.
Hey,
What's up,
glad to
Kev?
be here.
Yeah, what's up, Kevin?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. And my lovely wife, Ashley.
Hello. Hey, did you just fart? It sounded like you farted. I'm sorry.
Damn, dude.
It did, but I was just gonna let it roll.
That sounds like
sorry.
something. That's something that someone that farted would say.
Yeah,
You know?
that's a good way to kick the show off.
Yeah,
I'm so
yeah.
sorry.
Break the ice real
Dear
quick.
Lord, that's not my wife anymore. That was my wife, Ashley.
Sorry.
And we are joined by someone that I love and talk to every day, but I'm just meeting him in person for the first time.
First time.
Billy, aka the Spiritual Malady.
The Spiritual Malady. Yeah, I'm Billy, recovered alcoholic.
Yeah, what's
Addict,
up, dude?
you know? What's going
Glad
on?
you're
yo?
here. The first thing I was thinking is like, how did I even meet you in the first place?
Trolling a Facebook group.
Which one though?
Your Facebook group.
Okay. The Dank
Dank
Recovery group.
Recovery, yeah.
Was it community or group at that point?
No, at that point, the community was shut down. I heard the lore. I wasn't a part of that. I heard that was insane. But anyway, I got sober. It was the first time having access to like the internet and a phone in years. And I'm like, okay, I'm about my recovery, so I'm gonna look up recovery stuff and found Dank Recovery memes. And I really hadn't owned a phone in like 10 years. So I didn't even know what memes were. And then I came in and I'm like, I don't think these guys are in recovery at all. Like the stuff that I was seeing on there. But that's what kind of like opened me up to this idea that I didn't have to be this like stick in the mud. You know, I think the first meme that I laughed at was like one of Rock's, and it was like, they always ask where the plug's at. They never ask how the plug's doing or something like that. And it was like, this dude's sad, you know, wearing like a ski mask. And I was like, man, I felt that, you know what I was saying?
That's one of my favorite memes he's ever made.
You know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Like that one, like broke me because I was like really like just like, what am I looking at? What are these people talking about? And then saw that and I was like, all right, cool. I can kind of relate to that one, you know?
Yeah.
And it just really opened the door for me that, and then just the trolling, you know.
See, what's crazy is like the Facebook algorithm has changed so much. You used to be able to get away with anything. And so, and Dank Recovery was like really exploding in popularity. And I created the group and like tens of thousands of people were joining. And it was like nonstop posting all day long. Oh, yeah. And then one guy got on there, and this really took it to another. Actually, it might have been a girl. I can't remember. But she got on there and was like, I'm relapsing live stream. So she relapses on camera, like literally sticks a needle in her neck.
I remember. I know exactly what she's talking about.
And then like word went out globally. We started getting tons of requests to join the group from people in like Italy and Australia. Yeah. And I was like, why are these people trying to join? And you're deciphering the Italian. It's like, is this the group where the girls overdosing live? Oh, man. So it was, now you can't barely get away with anything on Facebook. But at the time it was, and so there's like people I think that got married because they met in this group.
In that group, yeah.
Meanwhile, Ashley was like, will you please stop playing around with this group? I saved Billy's life.
Literally saved my life. Yeah. No, that was so that was the thing is like we like chat back and forth and like found out that you were like about the book and you were like serious about your recovery. And that really did just like change things because I mean, like I said, I was either thinking that you had to be like stick in the mud, like big book thumper, dry, take everything serious, take myself really seriously. Or you were like a clown and like, you know, about to relapse. And I was like, well, this guy is like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. If you were going to give your talk, like your 12-step talk, where would you start?
Where would I start? I mean, I would start with like how it was when I came in the room. And
that's where you would start your talk.
Well, if I was speaking to like, well, so generally, like I always try to, and like, you know, I mean, obviously this isn't like an AA meeting, but I always try to like abide by like the fifth tradition. You know what I mean? Like I'm there to talk to the person who's suffering, right? I don't really care if you got years and years. Like we don't have to. I mean, like what? Tell you some spiritual stuff that like sounds really good and makes me sound like I know what I'm talking about. Whatever. You know, if I came in off the streets and you're talking about some spiritual stuff. I probably want to be as far from you as possible. So I talk about like when I walked in, the first meeting I ever went to, and I think I was still dope sick, it was a big book study, and there's this dude, he knew the book like forward and back, and he's talking about the book, and I'm like, yo, who's this dude think he is? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he needs to shut up. I got things to say, you know, and I thought it was like a really weird thing. And I came in and you talk about God and I'm closing my ears, and like, that's the furthest thing from what I actually wanted in my life. I just wanted to stay sober and like maybe pick up a little bit of what you guys were talking about, you know? So I just talk about how uncomfortable I was and how like, you know, they're like, oh, and you're the most important person in the room. And I'm like, I already think that. Like, I'm so selfish and self-centered. Like, I know that, dude. Chill, you know? Yeah. And then, but it like don't like point me out, you know? And I talk about like, you know, so in a roundabout way, I let them know that they're important, but without like kind of like pointing the finger and saying like, you know what I mean? Like making it awkward. So I just talk about like that and just like how miserable I was when I was sober. Because I think that's like, if somebody comes in and they're like not actively like in the middle of like full blown allergy, you know what I mean? And they've got like that obsession just kind of stewing about in the back of their head. It's like the spiritual malady is what's going to like kick them forward. Cause that's the part where they're going to say F it and go and grab a bag. Right. Or the fact that they're not spiritually fit is going to allow them to like, not even willingly just end up with a bag. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that mental blank spot's going to occur. So I just talk about like, just like, how it was when I was sober, like, and didn't have, you know, a program, and how like all I was actually looking for was just like that relief from self, right? And how a bag will do it, right? A bottle will do it. So that's what I went to because that's what I knew, right? And then just like, then I just started like hammering home like the obsession and how it leads me back, and how it's not even a matter of choice. It's like that choice is made. I just need to find that excuse that seems reasonable to me at whatever time based on how I'm feeling emotionally, right? Which links back to the malady. And I mean, I just talk them in circles for a minute and just kind of get them to relate a few times, and then just kind of lead up to the fact that like, if you can relate to this, like you're popped, bro. You know, like, man, like besides a spiritual solution, I got nothing for you. And, you know, I'm not stupid. I tried a bunch of different ways, all the medications, all the therapies, all the, you know, I went to Wisconsin at one point. I was sure that was going to like keep me off dope, you know? And then it was like, oh yeah, no, my mom needs me now that I got like 4 days sober. I need to get back to her immediately. Yeah, and of course it was high before I saw her. So I just like tell the way that the obsession kind of like worked for me, and just get them to relate to that. And now it's like my mind lies to me. I can't trust myself to stay sober. You know? Yeah.
So how long you been sober now?
Now, so 6 years. It'll be 7 in October.
Wow, congratulations, man. That's awesome.
You know, the congratulations thing, I can't take credit for God's work. You know, and I always have to say that because I feel like if I sit there and allow that congratulations to just be on me, I'm like lying about what actually happened. You know, God absolutely relieved me of the obsession, you know. So yeah, sorry.
No, that's awesome, dude. It's true, man. I just say thank you when people say congrats. I'm just like,
I'm really cringe about it. I
have to do the humble denial.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Show you just how humble I am by rejecting.
Facts.
Nope, it wasn't me. It was him.
Yeah, I want some. Yeah, I don't. There's some. I have some humility, you know. Like, I mean, I'm doing what I should have done years and years and years ago anyway, right? Yeah. And I don't know. I think there's a point in a person's recovery. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. But for me, there's a point in my recovery where it's like, man, I really don't want any credit. It's like the less credit I get for what I'm doing, the happier I feel about it, because it really has very little to do with me or my ideas, because my ideas got me in the door, you know? It's like, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do today. So
I feel the same way. Like at first, as I'm working through so much stuff, like first 5-6 years or so, I'm like, thank you. Because I've really, really feel like I've put in a lot towards this. Yeah. Now it's just like, dude, you work in recovery and you work with so many people and so many of them die. And you're like, ultimately I start to see myself as lucky rather than like someone who did all this great stuff. It's like, man, things just lined up for me in a good way. And I really feel that was God's grace and why I get that and others didn't. I'm like, it's almost hard to I don't know, brag about it, you know, but I totally get what you're saying, man. It's because when people say, well, why do you give God credit? And I'm like, dude, I've tried as hard as I could to stay sober and never did. And when I combine my effort with turning my will over to God, then the results come in. And that's the difference. So it's like, if it was only on me, then it would have happened before.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
Oh no, absolutely. That's one of the things that and that's one of the things that I will share in like the beginning of like a speak is like if I could have done this without like the steps or God, like there's places I would rather have been. You know what I mean? I would not be here right now. You know what I mean? And it is just like if I'd have figured it out, then like you guys would never have known me. You know what I mean? Like this is all God. You know?
Yeah. So I like how you said you start your talk off when you come to the program.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I hate the most when a speaker comes up is, well, I guess I'll start with when I was born. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a long one. The worst was when someone said, in order for me to start my story, I got to tell you about my great grandma. I'm like, no, you do not. That has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
And then you got to work through and then there's the people who have to catalog every visit to treatment. God. Don't do that. I promise you.
Yeah.
No one. Kevin and I were talking. I'm like,
the same one. It's all the same visit to treatment.
Yeah. I skip it. When I'm giving my talk, you'd think treatment only happened once. It actually happened twice, but I'm like, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
here's what clicked in treatment.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear you start your story off. You know, I would like to. Do you got a speaker tape?
I don't. I'm on like a different, like a big book podcast, but it's not like a lead or anything like that.
Is that what you call it in Chicago? A lead?
Oh yeah, we call it a lead because you said did you speak?
A talk.
A talk.
Is that what you call it, Kevin?
Yeah, big book talk or what?
Are you telling your story? Giving a talk?
Yeah, giving a talk. Yeah.
Okay.
Sharing.
Sharing
my
sharing's
story.
universal.
I'll say like if someone says, I'll tell people, you know, I don't tell people I'm sharing my story. That's another one I don't care for too much. Mm-hmm. You know, you go and tell everybody at the other meetings, hey, I'm sharing my story Saturday night at this. Man, I don't need you to stay up late Saturday night to come see me tell my goofy story, man. Go to bed.
Yeah.
God will put the right people in the room who need to hear it. Yeah, it'll work out. I don't need an audience or a cheering section or a bunch of fans. But yeah, I share my story. I just go in there and tell them, you know.
What do you call it?
Speaking. I'm speaking.
Speaking. Yeah.
What do you call it, Tim?
Yeah, what do you call it?
Speaking, giving a talk.
Spiking.
Giving a talk.
I'm speaking. Go away, speaking.
You say a lead. So you say, what is that?
So that's always been what I've known them as. Like if you're gonna like speak, if you're asked to speak at a meeting, it's like we just say giving a lead. Yeah, I'm gonna be given a lead. Yeah.
Is that a Chicago thing?
I guess so.
And does everyone else say they're gonna give a follow? All right, who wants to give a follow?
No, I mean, but to share after. That's funny.
Yeah.
No, I mean just sharing afterward. The sharing portion of the meeting would probably be.
Yeah, Kevin, to your point about not inviting people, I've invited people. When I don't want to name the place, but everyone there is so wildly medicated that their like jaws are dropped and there's just a glazed over look on their face. And I'm like, listen, I'm going to need some people that come here and just to nod their head. I'm understanding you.
An awake
There are words
audience.
coming out of my mouth. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm going to need a crowd just for that. Otherwise, we're good.
Those are my favorite leads or talks when I was in treatment centers, like in like the detox where they're still like heavily medicated. Like when I first started like speaking in treatment centers, they were my favorite because like most of the people there were just nodding out and I could pretty much say whatever and like get the nervousness out of my system and like kind of get down like, you know, what it's like to speak in front of people and they're just like popping up from a nod like, yo, I got a lot out of that. You know, like that's my favorite.
So do people ask you to speak because of your page? Do they know about it in Chicago?
I try not to tell anybody. I told you I was going to put on the Pooh Shiesty. I didn't want, you know, be associated with it. Because a lot of people, I try to make sure, because I say things that like are technically like violating traditions a lot. So like, I try to make sure that like people don't take the personality of like the person who runs the page and then think that that's what I'm actually doing when I'm in the rooms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I try not to. People know though, because I'll like post random friends of ours, and like, you know, it happens, but you know, I try not to like advertise that, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I feel like you guys are the same in that, for real. Like, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like the same sort of thing. I don't know, when you're talking about like how you start your talk, like there's just like such, wow, you're about it. You know what I mean? Like you really are about working a good program and stuff, and like not wanting to skew what people see online and like prejudge you, and you want to be able to help people, you know? Yeah. I love that. That's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah, there's so many like comedians that you hear them and you're not thinking, this is how that guy is in real life. He's probably just like this.
Right.
It's like, no, you assume he's joking. Yeah. But but joking about recovery, people are like, this guy's like this. He's always like this. Yeah. But when we've talked, it's kind of funny because I kind of expected you to be like your page. Like kind of when I talk to you on the phone, I'm like, this guy's gonna be unhinged. Oh, but I'm like, oh no, he's really thorough. He's about his program. I'm like, and Kevin and I know this, you kind of have to be able to like to joke about it, to joke about all the stuff. You really have to know the source material well. You got to really know the subject. And there's a Picasso quote I love. He says, "Learn the rules like a master, so you can break them like an artist." So you got to know the subject, and then you can play around with the material to joke about it.
Well, I think that's something that you said, like even before we started here, where it's like these people know if you're full of it or not, you know. And if I'm like making jokes about AA and I don't know what I'm talking about, then like you know what I mean. There's a lot of people that would be very happy to let me know that I'm wrong, you know, and a lot of people that would be like, you know, calling me out and all of that stuff. And that's always been my thing. Like, if I'm going to say something, I want to be like really solid about it. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm like really like, if I'm and back to the rooms, if I'm in the rooms, anything that I say is pretty much like, you can reference like the book, like why I'm saying what I'm saying, you know, and it's not like my message or what I think like, you know, needs to be said. It's like I just like go back to like what I learned from the book and how do I say that in like my words so new people can like relate to the book without knowing they're relating to the book. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's good.
I think there's a lot of growth in being able to, you know, humor provides us with an outlet to share some of those dark truths that really did happen, you know, and you can do it in a humorous way. And I think that part of spiritual growth is being able to kind of get some of that stuff out and being able to talk about it freely. I think there is, you know, I think that's part of a healthy recovery is being able to even be able to laugh at some of the darkness that I had to go through to get here.
Right. So on your page, you joke about really, it seems like you're mostly trolling.
Mostly.
Because like when I started Dank Recovery, that the goal was to joke about addiction. Yeah. Then it just became kind of like I just like reading comments sometimes.
That's yeah, absolutely.
Like I don't know, I'm like, weed isn't sober. And then the comments come pouring in. I'm like, oh, this is great.
That's brilliant. Exactly as I thought it would.
Like basically light a dumpster on fire.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that was the whole like reason why the page was named like the Spiritual Malady and all of that stuff. Because I started in your group trolling atheists. That was like the sole intention of me creating that page was to troll atheists. Because there was a lot of that like secular and like scientific approach and whatever recovery stuff going on in that group. And I'm like, but the admin's like a big book dude. Like he's about God, you know? And I'm like, I probably won't get banned if I post this. And just started just trolling all of those dudes, you know? Especially, and then that of course leads into like the MAT and the smart recovery. That's a favorite. It's not super popular, but it's definitely one that's fun to troll. I'm not gonna mention any specific other 12-step fellowships that I enjoy trolling, but like anything that like steered away from God, I was like, all right, I'm gonna like not necessarily argue because I wasn't personally invested, but definitely like trigger them and be like, well, that's probably something that you should give to God. I don't know.
There's enough people hating on the program. It's almost like you need funny people defending it.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what I don't want to say anything that makes me sound cringy, you know, but I'm like, I'm a prayer warrior.
Bro, drop the
So
prayer
on-
warrior.
Yeah.
On your page it says Assemblies of God, and it's like a link. Like, is that a troll, or like what's that about?
It sort of is. I think that's like a type of marker that you could put on like a page for like a ministry or a church itself. So I put it on there. At one point, it did say like the official meme page of AA World Services, and I was like, that's probably in poor taste. I'm gonna go ahead and change it back to DMs open for recovery talk.
That's funny.
Yeah. Straight troll. That
reminds me of Dr. Bob AF. His
Dr.
bio.
Bob AF. Yeah.
God rest his soul. I heard he passed away.
R.I.P.
But anyway, it says the official page for Pentecostal Republicans and Alcoholics Anonymous.
Beautiful.
Does that break any traditions?
What a guy.
Does that break traditions though? Is there one you can think of?
I think that's up for debate. I do want to say that like Dr. Bob AF, that's one of the guys that I was like originally trolling the Dank Recovery group with, like back in the day. Super. And then him and then Relapse Row, who was imprisoned for,
January 6th. He got pardoned. I haven't heard from him.
I have not either. I think that was one of the terms, is like he has to, stay off the
He's
internet.
not allowed to make memes.
Yeah. Not recovery memes, yeah.
This show is going to become too inside jokey.
Facts.
Yeah. So if people were to read our DMs back and forth, what would happen to us?
Oh, well, I mean, is cancel culture still a thing?
Yeah.
Like, is that still popping?
I was thinking about that. Yeah.
Maybe.
Billy and I talk on a daily basis, and really, mostly it's just like, oh, I just saw the most messed up thing that Instagram would allow. I know who to send it to. I send it to Billy and to Ashley. Those are
Nice. Nice.
If I send it to you, I'd probably send it to Dash. I can loop you in too, Kevin. I don't know. I don't know if we're there yet.
Yeah,
It gets pretty bad. I'm like,
okay. Yeah.
Some of the stuff I'm like, I don't want to see that.
Ashley's like, if you send me another video of somebody dying.
Oh my god.
Wow.
When I was pregnant, I was pregnant with Gracie, so this was like 7, 8, 9, almost 9 years ago. I was driving to go to his work to meet him, and he sent me a video of this girl she had a 5-gallon bucket full of puppies. She's throwing them down the river. And I am driving, so I shouldn't be on my phone anyway, but I'm pregnant and I'm crying. And he very well was the one that did the killing of the puppies. Like, that's how angry I was at him
She came
too
in.
much.
I was actually working at Bridgeway. She came in and was just screaming, like, it might as well have been you killing those puppies. Don't
send me that.
anything like that ever again.
Oh, man.
That's
I'm
vicious.
Like, okay. Every once in a while, I'm like, I want her to see this, though. Ashley, are you cool with watching a video where a guy blows up his hand with a firework? She's like, does it show it on there? Not completely. She's like, okay,
Let me send you that stuff, huh?
Sometimes it's
you'll
on.
love this. You're like, well,
I just don't understand, how is this on the internet, though?
Yeah, right.
Because that's the thing, okay? And like my page, if I even mention the word Xanax,
Oh, my God.
they'll pull the meme down and
Yes.
say you're suspended, you can't post. I'm like, and they say it's glorifying drugs.
Then why are they prescribing them like crazy? They're practically in a candy dish in a doctor's office.
Yeah. Anything. So I'm like, a lot of the memes you make, I like posting your stuff because it's funny. Like now, I don't really make as many anymore. I repost other people's, but all the stuff you got, I'm like, I already know. There's like I think they got like a dedicated CIA Facebook
CIA,
hybrid agent that's
level.
ready. Like,
Yeah.
nope, we got him. Got him, boys.
Oh, dude, any of the
Illuminati
words.
again.
Yeah, well, anything that like suggests drug use, anything that like suggests like the exchange of money for drugs, any certain curse words, and then it's like, bam, you're demonetized.
Yeah.
And I don't make enough off of there anyway to like really like trip, but like I mean the algorithm, I get lowered. Like you can tell how bad your page is hit based on how many letters you have to type in before it shows up in the search results.
Right.
So like, you got to type the whole name, and then it's like, oh, you must be talking about this guy.
Yeah.
After
you got it all typed in.
the whole thing. You
That
just
makes
went to
so
it.
much sense, because I've been like looking for. I was looking for yours. I was also spelling things wrong, but I've been looking for like Dank Recovery, and I can't find it sometimes. And I guess that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you got to type the whole word in. Shadow banned.
Yeah, exactly. Shadow ban.
Okay, so you're out there. You said 10 years without a phone.
Yo,
You were that bad off.
Yeah, man. I mean, so
that was the only bill I paid in active addiction.
For real.
Was a phone. You gotta have a phone to be a dope fiend, right?
Well, in Chicago, literally, I mean, you any corner you go to, like, you can buy heroin. Like almost any corner, and I live on the west side, so I'm walking distance from any dope, any crack, any whatever bars, of course weed and all the like kid stuff, but like you don't need a phone, you know what I mean? Like you can get around on foot,
Really?
yeah, and just like walk 4 or 5 blocks to get whatever you need, and then like not out on the way home, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't have a need for a phone. Every once in a while I would like borrow like my grandma's phone, and like use that to like make some phone calls, like if I needed to like be sure that the guy that I wanted to cop from was available.
Yeah.
But mostly did not need it, wasn't necessary.
And you lived around this area.
Yeah, I still live right there. Yeah.
Is it still like that there?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit further down, you know what I mean? Like my neighborhood's like all Hispanic neighborhood, and it's a lot of families, so it's not like super ratchet. It's more like gang stuff going on there, but like like a little bit further south, like, and then like literally like a little bit, like 5-6 blocks, like is where it's all spots,
And it's all Mexican people.
So it's mostly black down that way. I mean, like Chicago's super segregated. Like you cross like one street, and the north side of Grand is like all Mexican and Latino, and then the south side of Grand is like all black, and it's like just like the lines are drawn like very clearly as far as like what the neighborhoods are and all of that stuff.
It's like one side of the street and the other side of the street.
Yeah, and it's drastic. It's really like
Do they fight a lot?
Yeah, which is yeah, there's a lot of that, and then but yeah, no, it's all, I mean, all the drug spots and everything are super close. Like, you don't have to know anybody to like go buy like heroin. You know what I mean? Which is crazy. They literally just be out there, rocks and blows, and they call dope blows. So, they're just out there selling rocks and blows.
Wow. So you would buy from Mexicans primarily?
It depends. Puerto Ricans.
Are you Puerto Rican?
I'm not. I'm Mexican. Wow, this is gonna get into like a dicey. I'm gonna try and toe the line as to like what's okay to say. But the Puerto Rican cats that I would cop from, they did dope, so they had good shit. They wouldn't step on it with all the crazy stuff. If you buy from people that don't do dope, like a lot of times, like you'll get like brick dust. Like there's no way this is cooking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So I would try and cop from like the people that I knew. Like my mom was like dating this dude that was selling dope. I told you my mom's in recovery too. She's also a dope fiend. My grandma was also a dope fiend. My family.
Your grandma's still around?
No.
Did she overdose?
No. Well, since we're on the subject, no. She was going between doing subs and doing dope. So like one time she didn't take her subs in a couple days, and my aunt was like, oh well, you need to take your Suboxone. You're gonna get sick, and she was like trying to like hold off from it. And then got precipitated withdrawal from taking the Suboxone, and then like had a stroke and ended up dying.
Wow.
So like, yeah, so Suboxone killed my grandma. No, I'm just playing. But
you
like,
see why we're against? Yeah. Look at me.
No,
you see why we're against
the
this
tables
stuff?
have turned.
Suboxone and Divior.
I'll take yeah, exactly.
You killed his grandma.
You killed my grandma.
See?
Yeah, harm reduction. Yeah, no.
Yeah, harm reduction. Tell it to his grandma.
Like that's what I'm. Dang near positive happened. She was older, so they didn't do like an autopsy or anything.
Don't blame her age. It was the
Suboxone. Suboxone killed my grandma.
We ain't blaming age. That's ageist, okay?
No, but yeah, so like it was like a lot of my family was like on it, so we wanted to find like safer people to cop from. So I was copping from like like some of the Spanish cats that like also did it. But that's when I would need the phone. But other than that, like like when they stopped selling or didn't have anything, then it's like, all right, I'll just take a walk down this way and get whatever I needed. So the phone, like, yeah, did not need it.
So I wouldn't have ever guessed you were Mexican. Was that ever a problem or dealing with the Mexicans down there, or could they tell by looking at you?
So it's funny because like Hispanic people, a lot of times they'll look and they'll just kind of like know that I'm Hispanic, and I think it's like the beard lineup and like the beard lineup and like certain words that I say. Like I didn't notice, but like when I say probably, like I can like enunciate and use all the letters, but a lot of times I'm just like probably. You know, and I don't like mean to do it, but it does slip out, and sometimes people are just like, no, that like
What else?
what words.
Anonymity.
Yeah. No, certain things though, like even that thing though, like I don't mean, it comes out. I'll catch it, and then like like I like my mom's white, my dad's like Mexican, and he's like super Mexican. But like I know how to like talk to white people. I know how to talk to Mexican people. So like I can like do my phone voice, and like that's what I was like when I got on the phone with you earlier. I was like, oh, this dude only knows me from my phone voice, and I like really clear it up and like speak clearly and all of that stuff. So I'm like, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I was like, how's this gonna turn out?
That's funny.
Yeah.
So when you go to cop dope from the other Hispanic people,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, you're not Hispanic," and like, say probably.
It hasn't come up, but
Probably is the test word.
Probably, yeah, probably.
Probably?
Probably, yeah, probably.
So funny.
Yo.
Okay, he's good.
Yo.
Hook him
Get
up.
him what he needs, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So, okay, you're out here, you're homeless, you're shooting dope.
So I wasn't homeless because
Okay.
I had a lot of family.
Sorry,
that
I
were
think
also...
when I hear homeless, I'm thinking homeless.
No. I was towing the line. You would not think that I had a place to sleep if you knew me, because I had like matted hair. Like the teeth were all popped. You know what I mean?
Are those fake teeth?
Yeah. Definitely like just like when I came into rehab, I had 2 hoodies, 1 pair of pants, and then like some Adidas that I owned for like 3 years, and that was like, you would not have known that I had somewhere to like stay.
Why'd you go? Why'd you go to treatment?
I didn't have money to get high.
Wouldn't do anything else, so why
Right.
not?
So you didn't even want to.
No, I was just like, no, I mean, at that point, my hope was that I could detox, and then like when I do inevitably start using again, not have to spend so much money, and that would last like a week or two, if that. Like that was the best I could hope for at that point in my using, because like to stay sober, I went to rehab and genuinely wanted to stay sober, genuinely wanted to get clean, and it just wasn't happening. So the last time that I went was the first time that I was actually hopeless. Right, but that was the first time that I was actually able to like hear them talk about like what it was to be an alcoholic and all of that stuff. And I mean, I may have heard it 1,000 times before then, but that was the first time that it actually like meant something, that I was like willing to say like, man, maybe these people have a solution that could work for me,
That's good, man. How many times have you been to treatment before that?
I mean, so a lot of times it was detoxes. Well, and that goes to the idea that like I thought like the heroin was my problem, right? It's like I just got to get the heroin out of my system, and then things will be cool, right? Not realizing that it's like no, the sobriety part is my problem. Like the heroin is how I deal with my problem, which is
Right.
when I'm sober, I wish I was dead, you know.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was really, the last time I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, am I crazy? What is happening? And then I was like asking those questions, and that left me open to listening to what these people were talking about,
Mm-hmm. Man, I relate so much to your story. It's like, oh yeah, I just had this idea that I should get sober. No, I literally blew out all my veins shooting dope. I couldn't the thing I was destroying my life with, I couldn't even do it anymore. I was, there was nothing virtuous. I was completely beat down. And it was the same thing. It was like, maybe if I did what these people do, this could work. Yeah. It was like, I didn't even tell anyone I went to treatment because I thought I'd be back again.
I didn't either.
I was like, I don't want you to be able to look and say, he failed again. It was like, no. Yeah. And the same exact epiphany too. It's like, the drugs aren't the problem. I get sober and then I go use again. Yeah. I've got all the way off sick and then got high again. Mm-hmm. And I heard a lady say, I've heard it said a lot of times, if drugs and alcohol are the problem, you're probably not one of us. True. Because if that's the problem, you stop and then you just get better. Right. Yeah. But I stop and my brain says, hey, it'd be a good reward for 30 days sober. The thing that just completely destroyed your life.
Right. But just one of them. Yeah. And maybe don't use it more than like 2 days in a row. Right. So you don't, and just snort it this time. You know, just all the different things that like I would tell myself, or maybe just get some pills. Like you don't need to go and buy that stuff.
It'd be like recovering from getting shot and being like, it's been 30 days since I got shot. Here.
Right. But as long as it's a 22,
Yeah,
you know, just some small caliber.
With a 22.
You know, right.
Like, what are you doing? That's
Dude.
crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's why I think it's like the jaywalker story in the big book is so like it's such a funny thing because like that people will read that, and I mean obviously it's absurd, it's a jaywalker, but like that hits home the most because my brain's not actively trying to tell me like to go back to jaywalking. So when they talk about that in the book, it's like, oh man, yeah, that's crazy. Why would anyone do that? But we just read like 30 pages at that point of like what it is to be an alcoholic and how the obsession plays a role, and like that part's hard for me to grasp.
So for anyone who's not listening, Braden, for example, he's like, the jaywalker story. What's that? Tell the newcomer about the jaywalkers.
The jaywalker. So the jaywalker, you know, he shuts himself up in hospital. What do they call him? A foolish chap with queer ideas for fun. They're talking about like this guy who like gets a thrill from walking into traffic, cars, trolleys and the sort. And then he starts to get injured. And so the thing about that jaywalk, like his goal is to jaywalk, not to get hit by cars. So when he starts getting hit by cars, like, you know, a normal person would be like, all right, this is no longer fun. There's too many consequences. I'm not going to do this anymore. And he goes to the hospital and he comes back out and immediately, I think he rushes in front of a trolley car or a fire engine and breaks his back and just progressively worse and continues to do the same thing. So it's just like highlighting the insanity of like, us, you know, right?
How dumb we are.
Right. Well, yeah, that it's injurious, but my brain will lie to me and tell me like, all right, well, next time, as long as it's, you know, a Nissan instead of a Honda, you know?
Yeah, and it says that this might seem ridiculous, but that's us.
Yeah.
Drinking,
yeah.
using, you know?
Swapping out the two,
It's destroying my life. And then I'm arguing with people around me for trying to tell me to slow down on it or quit doing it. It's like, how dare you tell me to stop doing this thing that's destroying everything that's good in my life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you know who I am?
Yeah.
Well, if it's the only thing that ever made me like actually feel okay, like the idea of losing that crutch is like unfathomable, you know, and like that's what I think makes it so hard is like I don't have experience with God. I don't have experience with the steps when I first come in. But that is when the like war stories can like kind of hit because I'm like, yo, this dude's messed up like me. And now he's like, yo, he's got a cell phone. You know what I mean? Like that guy, this guy's got a car, right?
Car
Got his
insurance.
license back, a job. Yeah. Insurance. Wow. Right. That's way beyond what I was hoping for. But then it's like, but this dude obviously knows what he's talking about. Like, yo, he's a junkie like me. And like something he's doing is working for him. So like, you know, I don't have trust in it, but I'm like, maybe I'll hear him out, you know?
Man, I almost say the same thing on the first episode. And every time I tell my story, it's like, you couldn't make this up. Yeah. This guy couldn't have made this story up.
Right. Yeah.
I relate to that first part, you know? Mm-hmm. That's why when I talk about the first part of my story, I usually do go into the addiction, but it's kind of really telling the doctor's opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the doctor's opinion in the big book is about basically how the alcoholic, and I think of it as the addict too. It's like you put one in you and it's over. Mm-hmm. It sets off this craving.
Yeah.
And I wanted to argue with that for a long time. Like there was times I only took one drink, but then I'm like, when I'm being honest, that I was at my buddy's house. The time I always thought about where I took one drink, one shot of whiskey. He was like, hey, you guys want to do a shot? And I'm thinking, we're going to party. And he's like, okay, we all take a shot. And he's like, all right, I got to go to bed now. And I'm like, excuse me? What?
Yes.
Bro.
Oh, man.
So it wasn't even my choice to take one shot. Like I had to leave.
Yeah.
I had to leave this guy's house.
See that's the thing that I always talk about is like that one line where it says like, you know, the great obsession of every abnormal drinker is that it may one day control and enjoy, you know, his drinking. And it's like those are mutually exclusive. I'm either controlling it and I'm not enjoying it, or I'm enjoying it because I'm not controlling it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then I point out the fact that there were those times where I went out specifically to do like 2 or 3 shots, go home, get to work on time, and prove to myself that I was not an alcoholic. so then I can go on to like drink like an alcoholic. You know what I mean? Like when it was more important to me to prove that I wasn't an alcoholic, I was able to control it, right? Because the most important thing that I could do was not to like get wasted that night. But now that that one time where we had the one shot or whatever it is, like I will reference that despite the thousands and thousands of times where I went completely off the rails, you know, hitting the ATM at 3 a.m, you know, seeing who's waking up, you know, all of that stuff, man. I completely
normal
forget.
people never have to prove they're not alcoholics.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's an alcoholic idea.
Right.
Only an alcoholic would go to the bar to have a couple drinks to prove they're not an alcoholic.
100%.
Normal people never come up with ideas
they just
like that.
Don't drink. You know, they just stop.
Or they drink 2.5. I feel weird. Here, take my keys.
Oh man, yo,
You know,
take
me,
my
I
keys.
feel
That's the
weird.
best part.
Yeah, I feel weird all the time.
Yeah, the driving.
Yeah, dude,
I
that was
feel weird all the time. 2 or 3 drinks, I want the keys back.
Yeah.
I gotta go get some more stuff.
My man.
Taking my keys.
Let's do that.
I'm just getting started, right?
Oh yeah.
I remember one time I told some friends, and I'm like, you know, man, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. You know, I was living in Reno, Nevada, and it was just, oh man, it's just hell. You know, drinking and using and cocaine, all this stuff. I'm like, man, I'm done. I can't do it no more. And then one day, a couple days later, my buddy comes over, and I was drinking a Bud Light. He goes, I thought you said you were done. I go, yeah, but not this. No, I meant the hard stuff. I'm not, you know, like Bud Light. It's like Mr. Pibb practically.
Yeah.
You know? It's like that ain't what I meant. I meant the hard stuff.
Right. Yeah. That alcoholic delusion. You know, one thing, not the other. Right. Swapping out. You know, it's like right. The what is it like? Drinking natural wines. You know, just switching from scotch to brandy. Just all the different ways.
Yeah.
Like one of my things I used to drink. I used to drink Hennessy. Right, because alcoholics don't drink Hennessy. They drink vodka, the plastic bottle stuff. And me, I went as far as like buying a snifter, and I would like be in the hood like swirling a snifter of Hennessy because I'm like I'm not an alcoholic, even though it's like 11 in the morning, and I'm just like out there with a snifter of Hennessy, you know,
Without a cell phone, trying to get some
no
dope.
cell
No,
phone.
at that point when I was drinking Hennessy, I still had a cell phone and all of those things, so I was
You
still
were respectable
relatively
alcoholic.
keeping it together. Yeah, you know, besides like wrecking the car all the time and all of that stuff. But yeah, no, I was relatively together at that point. Yeah, toward the like the actual dope usage, there was no cell phone that I would like hold on to. You know,
That's like saying, like, I never had a problem with meth. I never even tried it.
yeah.
You know, so obviously that's not a problem. I'm not a meth addict.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Well, when I was like spending every dollar that I had on pills, I wasn't an addict because I wasn't buying dope. You know, or really at that point, it was like I wasn't snorting the pills. I was just swallowing them because that's what addicts do. Addicts snort pills.
I always had some friends who were way worse than me. Too.
Yes,
I
you
can
need
always
those.
say, I know, I do drink a lot, and yeah, I get a little out of hand every now and then.
Yeah.
But you talk to so and so about it.
Oh, man.
Before you ever come to me about that.
Yeah. I'm gonna stand real close to them. You know what I mean?
Didn't it say that in a book somewhere? We seek out lower company.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorted places. You know,
One of my when I was at rock bottom, absolute worst, I only hung out with one guy, and it was this crack smoker who was like 20 years older than me. And I would drive around, and he would steal steaks from grocery stores.
beautiful.
Like shove them in his pants and then jump in my truck, and we'd go to he'd have all these steaks, and he had all these bars mapped out where he would sell them the steaks.
Yeah.
50 cents on the dollar. That's a whole hustle I'd never even heard of.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, we get back to my house, and dude, I'm just like, what a dirtbag this guy is. We didn't even talk. We didn't say one word. He just was like, go left here, go right here. That was the extent of our conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get all the money. We go, I'm doing dope. He's smoking crack.
Yeah.
And then I remember it was New Year's Eve. I watched the ball drop on TV. I'm like, all these people are happy, hugging. I'm just sitting here with this crackhead who's just smoking his kneecaps off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my life sucks.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, I wake up and the crackhead's packing up all his stuff. I'm like, where are you going? He's like, man, I got to get out of here. You're too messed up for me.
Yeah.
I was his lower company. I was the guy making.
How does that feel, man?
Dude, when an old crackhead leaves you,
Yeah,
That's
20
rock
years your
bottom.
senior, and he's
Is
like,
that-
dude,
yeah.
no, man.
I can't.
I
hang
gotta
out
get
with
away
you.
from
This
you,
is-
dude.
This is messed
It's
up.
too depressing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's funny because like what you were saying before, we kind of almost got off track a little bit, right? But you were even saying something. This might bring it full circle, but like Ebby Thatcher was that guy for
Bill.
Bill.
Yep.
Right? And then, but see, Bill, he shows up at Bill's door sober.
Yeah.
And Bill's like, he couldn't deny something's happening to this guy.
Yeah.
Something different. And, you know, when you see that person at the meeting and you're like, man, that person, you counted him out. I counted him out. I'm like, there's no way that guy's ever going to get his life together. And then I see that guy at the meeting thriving. I'm like, I can't discount that.
Yeah.
Something's going on at the meeting. Something's happening. And he saw Ebby and he's like, man, because Ebby was bad.
Yeah.
And he's like, if this guy's doing it,
Right.
there must be something, you know? He thought about that day in Winchester Cathedral. He thought, maybe there is a higher power.
Yeah.
Yeah, God kind of came
See,
to
and
him
I
for
had a
minute.
moment with that same crackhead. He showed up at my grandma's house. This is the next time I saw him.
Uh-huh.
And he was crying. His wife had just overdosed and died. He just showed up randomly.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I need a ride. Will you please give me a ride? At this point, I'd been sober like 3 years. And I'm like, yeah, I'll give you a ride. We jumped into my car. I had a new car.
Yeah.
I was wearing a dress shirt and a tie and slacks. I was going to work as a counselor at a treatment center. And I'm like, sure, man, I'll give you a ride. And I got in the car and he's like, dude, whatever you're doing, it works.
Man, that's
I
beautiful.
didn't even
That's
tell.
like,
I didn't even get a chance to tell him what I did. He's like,
yeah.
it works, and I'm like, bro, it's for you too. And he never took me up on it. But I was hoping to have one of those moments where it's like, bro, because one of my other friends, BT, you know BT, I had 30 days sober. I was like, I'm not talking to another using friend ever again as long as I live.
Yeah.
But BT kept blowing me up, trying to get a hold of me. I'm like, nope. And finally, my sister calls me for him. She's like, he's just worried about you. We just tell him that you can't talk to him anymore. So I get on the phone. I've literally celebrated 30 days sober. I'm like, listen, dude, here's the deal. I'm sober. I live in a sober living house. My life has never went this good before. Not hanging out with any old friends. Best of luck to you. He's like, that's the most positive thing I've ever heard, bro.
Oh, man.
Can I come to a meeting with you?
No.
I said, hell no, dude. Hell no. You know how many times I tried getting sober and somebody, I was trying to help them.
Yeah,
and
they
they-
left up for you.
like,
to
hell
come
no.
sober,
And
right.
is that the right answer? No, but for me at the time, it was like a nope.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, please. I said, you stay sober all day tomorrow. I'll take you to one Sunday, but you're not allowed to sit by me,
Yo,
act like you
yeah.
don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. He actually lied about his sober date for 3 years because he said he stayed sober that whole next day.
Just to go.
He didn't want to let you down.
Yeah. He finally called me up. He's like, man, I've been lying about my sobriety date. I said, oh.
Bit of weight on him. I was
Right.
like, that's big too.
He's like, one
aw,
day.
How adorable. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he had used somewhere recently. He's like,
Yeah.
remember that day I said I was sober? I used.
Oh, man.
But I
Yeah.
stayed.
Yeah, he's kicking butt today.
He's got 13 years sober.
Man.
Oh,
You know what that
really?
did for me? I thought I was going to
Yeah.
save all my friends at that point.
Oh, man.
Everyone's
yeah,
going to make it
yeah.
now.
And God or whatever, the universe, you were saying something before about coincidences and stuff. You know, it's like, you know, you coincidentally get in the right situations in recovery, it seems. But you'll get in the wrong ones, too. When you do the wrong things, like, I've been on the other end where, like, I was a guy's counselor, and then I run into him at Quick Trip. He's, like, buying a 12-pack. You know, it's like, you know. It's like, I've been in that situation so many times where I see someone out doing the wrong thing. I'm like, oh, there you go, buddy. You know, it ain't for everybody.
Yeah.
But so it's like, I know, man, if I decide, you know, there are going to be some people going to see it. They're going to find out.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I like the first couple years that I had sober, I didn't want anybody to see me walking down the aisle where there's alcohol at the store. Like, I don't even want to be seen
make
or
sure,
just in case. I don't want anybody to think.
Don't be hanging out with alcohol. Don't include me with alcohol. Whatever you do, we ain't
Yeah.
friends no more.
I think one of the things, like my like Ebby Thatcher-ish moment was actually with my sponsor. And so I knew him, and I knew him from NA. And he was like the most miserable, in and out constantly. Like, mind you, I mean, like, I wasn't really like trying to be clean. I was trying to like get my family to chill. So I'm like, yeah, I went to those meetings, you know. My pops was in NA at the time, so he would like drag me to them, and then I'd like kind of show up. But this dude was like the most miserable, dry, crusty, like little crackhead dope fiend dude like ever. And I met him at a treatment center, one of those like state funded treatment centers in Chicago. And he comes in and he's got a little smirk, and he's like happy, and he's holding a different book. And I'm like, what happened to you, dude? And he was just like, yo, I did this stuff instead. And then funny story, I had my NA basic text. I'm like, what do I do with this? He's like, give it to somebody you hate. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
We have some loyal NA listeners. At least one.
I don't get that. This whole like I had an NA guy. I had a box of big books in my office one time that got donated to Bridgeway Treatment Center in St. Louis, and he's like, he was an NA guy, and he was coming in for the NA meeting to speak. But I used to have good conversations with him. He goes, what is that, box of big books? I go, yeah. He goes, you should just throw those away. Why would you say
The rivalry.
Like, I don't get it. Like, the resentment. I mean, resentment's our number one offender, right? Why is NA so angry at AA?
Yeah, we'll put it all on them.
Whatever,
I mean,
it's a topic for a whole podcast.
Yeah.
Their entire fellowship started out of resentment. Let's just leave it there.
Yeah.
Leave it at that.
Yeah. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Right, I'm doing my own
what's
thing.
funny? I shared my story at an NA meeting, and man, I have a lot of friends in NA, and
I do too.
And what I want,
I'm just trolling.
the main thing is like, and they know this, but maybe the average person doesn't. It's like Cardinals Cubs.
100%.
It's like, come on, man, I'm gonna
Yeah.
talk trash. You're just on a different team. I'm glad you're sober.
The end goal,
NA?
right? Stay alive, find God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're doing the same
Yeah.
thing. But it is definitely just like a team's thing.
But sometimes it's a little. Some people are more aggressive. But I shared my story at an NA meeting years ago. Gave my lead. I led them.
Your talk.
Led them the way
Yeah.
they were in the
An
mood to
NA
be
talk.
led in.
Yes.
And afterwards, someone was like, "What's your home group?" I said, "Well, my home group's actually an AA meeting."
Yeah.
And this dude threw up.
No, he did not.
If you read their book, the book is good. I mean, the book's more like, it's more kind of like, it kind of pinpoints more about the disease of addiction and symptoms and things like that, where, the big book's a story about a stockbroker and what happened.
The only problem is no one's ever read the NA book.
Yeah, I have. But I'm in AA,
read it.
so maybe that's got something to do with it.
Yeah.
I read it cover to cover.
No, I'm just kidding.
But,
I'm like,
just, I don't know.
I know some people in NA who have great recovery. I also know some people who are like insane and like are happy with that, and that works for them. Cool.
No, and everything I could say making fun of NA, I've been to NA group or AA groups that were the same way.
Yeah,
True.
for sure.
That's
So it's
That's a disclaimer,
if you're in NA, no hard feelings.
I think it also has a lot to do with the area that you live in. Like we were talking about meetings in this particular area, not so great, and then in different areas. Like our friend, she lives in Tennessee and she's in NA, and she is like top notch. Like she is doing the thing.
Junkie Brewster.
So
fellow meme
good.
lord.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it does have a lot to do with like where you live and where you go. I think different areas of the country have thriving different fellowships.
Yeah.
I mean, but to your point, one of the craziest meetings I ever walked into was an AA meeting, and it was a meeting at this place called Mustard Seed in Chicago. It's like right by the Red Line, which I don't know if you know what the Red Line is just like a ratchet train, that runs 24/7. So there's a lot of homeless people. Mustard Seed's a great place to go charge your phone. So like you get a crazy mix of people, and they have like the latest meeting in the city at this point, I think, and it's like an 11 p.m. Speaker meeting, and like I walked in and it's just like one dude at the front and then two new guys. The one guy's like literally 3 days sober. The other guy, he's like 1 day sober. And this crazy dude at the front's like, yeah, I used to run this company. Maybe you heard of it. It's called Saturn. We used to build affordable American cars, and like he's just telling the craziest lies I've ever heard anyone say. And literally I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to like fight this guy or something. And I'm just like, hey guys, whatever whatever he's talking about, that's got nothing to do with the solution that we offer. And we could talk after the meeting if you guys feel like staying here. If you guys want to go talk in front, we could do that. And he like got super offended, and I'm just like this is detrimental to these new dudes, because somebody who shows up to an 11 p.m. meeting on a Saturday, like they're having a bad day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you don't like they held on as long as they could before they finally were like, okay, well, how do I get to a meeting? Is there a meeting or whatever? You know, and then they go in and they're hearing this like crazy whatever. But so like the worst that I've heard was like in an AA meeting, you know, and there's plenty of that. Dogs that just like roam freely throughout meetings, sniffing the crotches of any anybody who's attending. Just multiple dogs, wild dogs, no owner, just wandering in.
We were just talking about on the way here. Billy and I were talking about my experience, because we're filming in Peoria right now, and we're talking about my experience going to meetings in Peoria. My wife went to some and she liked them. But my experience, it's like almost like God didn't want me to go to AA in Peoria. There was a wild dog in every meeting. Someone's dog.
Wild dog.
And they wouldn't even open with anything. It was like, is this meeting going to start? Oh, no, it started. Oh, okay. And then the dog's just wandering around, sniffing you. You're like feeding it stale donuts. Like, what did you call the dog, though?
The meeting maker dog? Yeah, it's just the dirtiest, like poorly maintained dog you've ever seen. Just
it's
like
it's a new what do you call that?
Breed?
Yeah.
It's its own thing, yeah.
It's an archetype. The meeting maker dog.
The meeting maker dog. That's a real
smells
thing,
terrible. You pet it and you got stuff all over you.
The grime on your hands.
Emotional support dog that needs a hygiene support person.
Right.
Oh my Lord.
Dude, and the people will, argue like, no, that's my buddy. Like, and I mean, like, cool. I love dogs also, but like,
you got any sponsees? Yeah,
just that dog right there. That's my higher power. You ever heard people say that?
Yeah.
The like dog, that's my higher power. Like, dude, what are you even talking about? That sounds insane.
Yeah.
That sounds like an outside issue. That's as bad as like praying with a doorknob or any of that stuff. Like,
you said who sponsors who?
Yeah. Who's sponsoring who? Like who adopted who? You ever see those stickers?
Oh no.
They got
it's who saved who.
Yeah, who saved who?
Oh, okay.
Who sponsors who?
Your dog owns you, yeah.
My first sponsor.
Man.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, people bring their dogs to the meeting. I mean, what if that dog bites somebody or something? I mean, it's just the ridiculousness of that. Some girl brought her little chihuahua to a meeting. She would put it in her purse, one of those purse chihuahuas. And a guy we know, Chris, he said, you need to get that dog out of here. You can't be bringing a dog to the meeting. She started crying.
Jeez.
Yeah. What do you think about bringing kids to meetings?
If it's, technically speaking, if it's an open meeting, like they're fine, right?
How should the kid behave?
Oh well, I've not brought my daughter to any meetings. I'll like sit her in the next room, but like she connects to my Wi-Fi, she gets on her tablet, she puts on her headphones. As if you're gonna like chill with like headphones on and like do your own thing, like cool, you're barely even there. I know like, kids running around and screaming or like running up to their parents and doing all that stuff. And it's like, it's a little bit of a distraction. I think there is also like this thing where I'm like, okay, well maybe I just need to give this to God and whatever. But then at some point it's like, no, I'm like using self-will to try and get over this annoyance. You know what I mean? Like, cause this is something that I'm like now subjecting myself to. This is every time I come to this meeting, that kind of thing.
That's such a tough thing too, because like you see like young moms, like single moms that are trying to get it together, and it's like I can be annoyed, but as a newcomer, like I can't even hear. You know what I mean? Like I want to be at this meeting too. It's weird. Yeah,
well, I agree with that, and that's the hard part where it is like, I don't want to tell someone like, and I don't want to feel like, hey, this person is not welcome in this meeting or whatever. So it's like, all right, cool. But at the other time, on the other side of that, there's other people that are, you know what I mean, trying to get something out of this too. And like, screaming kid is, distracting.
Yeah, I think there's like a cutoff,
Age.
I don't know, well, maybe. I think sobriety.
Okay.
Like, okay, you're new. You got to bring the kid. You just got to get here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But you've been around a long time. Just call your sponsor. Mm-hmm. You don't need the meeting. You don't need to distract all. Because the meeting is. Who do you think the meeting's for?
Well, right. The still suffering, the newcomer.
Yeah.
Like.
And like a meeting, you can just call your sponsor, have a meeting. You don't need to. It becomes selfish when you're at a point in your recovery.
Yeah.
It's true.
But there's another point where it's like you might not have the network. This is the best you can do is show up to the meeting with your kid.
Before COVID happened, there was a meeting that I went to regularly that had childcare. Yeah. And that was nice. And especially because we have so many kids. But at the time, I think we only had 2. But still, like, I needed it, like I was suffering. We were all suffering because of me and my alcoholism. So, yeah, but I don't know if that's a thing anymore.
Childcare meetings?
Yeah.
Oh, they have them.
No, there's I know there's like one, and I know of one in the city that's like at a like church that has its own like room for kids, and I don't know if it's like some old timer lady that like hangs out with the kids in there, kind of.
Yeah, fear not. There's an alcoholic here to watch your children.
Right.
No, I'll just pass.
I'll just go drink.
Yes. Yeah.
That just opened up doors I don't even want to go through right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so why are you an alcoholic? Well, it started being babysat in Alcoholics Anonymous meeting.
This sketchy alcoholic lady, who would watch us every Saturday.
That's funny.
Yeah. Or like, are they doing background checks?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a level of like trusting God that like, gets.
Yeah.
Some people really want to work in that daycare.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yes.
It's not service.
I don't know. There's
for
just certain
them.
people when they volunteer to watch your kid. I'm like,
very
like the 50-year-old man driving the van.
I'll do it.
The van
really
without the
watching the kids.
windowless van.
Please, let me do it.
Like, I'm sorry, Rick. You're not watching anyone's kids. The fact that you volunteered was disqualifying.
So, Rick?
Yeah. There used to be a guy we worked with at Bridgeway that one time I said to Gene, I was like, you ever just meet someone and just feel like you should call the police? Because they're probably a convicted sex offender. Jeez. She's like, I already know exactly who you're talking about.
Was it Rick?
He was not a Rick.
Name drop. Come on.
I'll just throw it. I don't know, dude.
What's that?
Rick just seemed like a random generic 50-year-old guy's name.
That diddles kids. Yeah. Rick is a diddler name for sure.
Yeah,
Anybody out there named Rick, we're watching you.
Yeah. There's some guy twacked out named Rick. It's
Watching this Rick.
They know.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's rough.
Shout out Rick. You're a good sport.
Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
Thanks, Rick.
Yeah. No, I know some really good Ricks.
Yeah, there's some solid Rick. Sorry, Rick.
Very
Yeah,
solid.
that
It's
one
the
Rick though,
Chesters.
we know. All right.
Chester's
Stop
definitely.
it.
Yeah. Sorry, Chester. There's no.
If your name's
There's no
Chester,
help for
you
Chester.
change your name.
There's no help
Yo,
for Chester.
yeah. Chester the
Lester's
alcoholic,
pushing
like
it too. It's too
nah.
close
to
Yeah.
Chester.
If it rhymes, with that word, I'm
Right.
just a little iffy right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm changing my name.
Not taking those chances. Well, right. Any self-respecting man with that name.
Chester, what's your last name? Hitler?
Chester Hitler. There's nothing good about what's going on here, man. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay,
It's like a
so
crazy turn. Yeah.
anyway, what page is that on in the big book? Where are we at?
Which
Working our way through the first 164.
oh, snap. Where do we leave off?
Working with others, babysitting section.
I mean,
Some middle-aged men have established daycares in their living room.
An underground church meeting.
oh, man. I'm not. Tunnels, underground, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Yes.
Oh Lord. It's getting hot in here. I'm progressively
it is.
sweating worse and worse.
Just the ring getting larger and larger.
Today's episode is sponsored by Asphalt Services. We are so grateful to have them as sponsors on the show. Kevin, tell us about Asphalt Services.
Yeah, it's a guy I work with. His name's Mike. He's in recovery. Him, his brother Jim. Great guys. And they have it's an asphalt business. It's in Creve Coeur, which is a suburb of St. Louis. So if you need asphalt in the greater St. Louis area, they do church parking lots. They do car sales lots. They do streets, roads, main roads, things like that. They'll do tennis courts, all sorts of different stuff. But they do, they are sympathetic to recovery and the cause, and there are a couple people who are in recovery, and they're donating to the podcast. They like watching the podcast, and they want to see more episodes.
That's awesome, man. We're grateful for Mike. So if you're a mayor, a governor, a pastor, these are the guys that you need to do your asphalt services. We joke about a lot of the same stuff. And you know what's funny is making recovery humor. We've joked about it, me and other friends, that all the jokes have been made pretty much, and there's nothing left to joke about. What I would say, your page is my favorite page. It is just so, it's hilarious. And I'm like, man, every joke hasn't been made. This dude is steadily coming up with new stuff. And
thank you,
dude. I'm like, and most of it is, I'm like, how did I think of this? After all these years, because this year will be 10 years since I started Dank Recovery. And so anyway, I love the page. And you probably more than anyone else I know can relate to the kind of blowback that I've gotten. So like some of the most common stuff that we probably see is you're addicted to those meetings. Oh, you traded one addiction for another. You're addicted to meetings now. Yeah. Hope your Sky Daddy can help.
Sky Daddy is like the most cringe,
Yeah. So what do you how do you deal with the critics?
I mean, that's funny. Wow. To be in a place where I have critics is amazing right off the bat. But I just...
I'd like to thank the haters.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, so I think about like how... just like how full of like vitriol and toxic and like sick I was when I first got sober and when I didn't have like, a program, to work. And how anything that anyone did was something that I can hold on to and try to use to like put distance between us. So like any of the stuff that like I post that like triggers people or whatever, like generally I don't take it super personally when people trip, I mean, a lot of times they're talking crap to a faceless meme page. Sometimes I have plenty of people that like know me and hate me, like actually me, that happens too. And it just like is what it is, and I think that's something that like I've like I carry across like not just social media or whatever, like in the real world too, where it's like I don't take myself so seriously. So if somebody else like gets really upset about something, it doesn't really bother me. I jokingly said it earlier, but I mean, and I'm not gonna act like I'm just like this. Like I'm like doing God's work every time I piss someone off. But at the same time, I know when I'm upset, it's like I am seeing that this is some area of my life that I've not given to God completely. And like when I get pissed off or when I have those opinions and whatever, or like, character defects start to show, I'm either going to continue growing spiritually and ask God for help, or I'm going to like backtrack and like go back out. Now that depends on what type of actions I'm taking. So I'm saying like not to, I'm saying like this is what, I'm not in control of what other people are doing, but if something is like upsetting you that much, like, man, maybe you should like, figure out what it is at the core of that, like what part of you feels attacked, and I'm not having those whole conversations with people, but I think I am giving people an opportunity to see what areas like they're clutching so tightly to, right? Like what part of your narrative or your like own ego, like are you like holding on to still that's like allowing you to feel this way,
right?
Isn't that the spiritual malady anyway?
Essentially, and that's going full circle. Right. That's what I was saying. That's why I like named it that. That's why I started posting what I was posting.
Do they jump in your inbox ever asking for help? Not just hating,
help. Okay,
but asking for help.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people actually, and like it's one of the things that like kind of drew me to your page and your group was that people are like, wow, I never knew that you could like be like kind of cool or like chill and like be in recovery, as I didn't know it, especially when the capital G word, you know what I mean? When you start talking about God, like we automatically assume that it means like something that like we were introduced to as a child, maybe, by like not super cool meme pages like Dank Recovery, so when they see this stuff and they see like, wow, this is like a relatable person, who's like making jokes about things that like I was like ashamed to ever even speak of. and so like I can relate to you on that level. It breaks the ice with the humor, and then it's like now you actually post stuff that like people are like, man, I had to get out my big book for that one, but that was a great meme, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or people that are like, hey, what should I be looking for in a sponsor? Or like, do you know any treatment centers? And like, since I got like the page, I'll put on my stories like, hey, do we have anybody in like, Duluth, that is about the book or whatever, and like, send some ads to these people and connect. It's been great. Honestly, the comment sections are amazing. We both love to start those dumpster fires, but like overall, like, I mean, I can't say for sure what happened to some of these people that have hit me up, but like I've made myself available, and I'll take the time out to talk to them and be like, yo, there's some connections I got over here that I could put you in touch with. And it's around the world, like John Anon. I wanted to shout out John Anon because he's like the most autistic, unhinged memer. He's my favorite because he's just like out there. But he's a really solid big book thumper, and he's across the pond, so like there's random people that
really? Where at?
Chester, which is I think a
Chester,
little bit outside of oh snap!
He's not allowed to watch the children.
No children in this town. No, it's right outside of like Manchester. But
Salad guy watches the kids.
I want to shout out. No, that's not that I wanted to do for John and I.
Hey, I will say I love that dude's page too. His memes are so niche that I'm like, I would never post that because I would expect no one to get it. Right. I almost always get it.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's very he's like a memer's memer when it comes to like recovery memes.
3 likes, nice.
Yeah, and he'll just leave it up, dude. He's a savage for that. Get 4 or 5 likes, just let it ride. I love that dude. But yeah, and he's a solid dude. He's very up on like CA. And what is it? DAA, Drug Addicts Anonymous, and I'll connect people to him all the time because there's just random people around that do reach out for help. In England, yeah,
that's awesome.
No, it really is.
Sponsorship, childcare, whatever you need.
He's gotcha. That's jeez. Oh man, sorry, John.
Sorry, John. We love you, man.
We do. Yeah. Let's keep it rolling.
What about my favorite attack is, what about coffee? That's not sober.
Oh my God.
When we're saying weed's not sober or Suboxone's not sober, one time I was like, let me test this out.
Mm-hmm.
Alcohol's not sober. And people were like, the audacity of this man. Clearly that, you can't argue with that. No. They started arguing.
It's legal.
Who are you to say that alcohol's not sober? Like, that's literally...
Wow.
The whole thing, right? Because that's the argument that like even like some people will make, like, oh well, sober means sober from alcohol, right? So like by definition, and I mean there's various definitions, like there's even like the biblical definition of like sober, which is the one that like makes the most sense to me, right? But the one like that you find in the dictionary is like sober, like like not intoxicated by alcohol. So like to say like alcohol is not sober, and I remember that because I'm like, oh, this is so dumb. I wonder if anyone's gonna get in and go to the comments like, oh man.
I thought no one will bite. This will be stupid, but
sobriety is a spectrum. Like, dude, no, it's not. You either are or you aren't. Like, what are you talking about?
One of my favorite memes by what's his name? Noah. He was fish sticks and fentanyl.
Yes.
It was like, I'm sober when I say I am. Haha, that's funny. You have a DWI. You're going to jail.
Right.
You're going to jail. Weed is sober. It's my medicine. You just violated your urine analysis.
Yeah. And then I mean that's the whole thing. Like, oh, well, especially when we're talking about like AA, and it's a book that's like 89 years old at this point or whatever. Or whatever.
90 this year.
Is it 90 this year? Jeez.
This year makes 90.
Amazing. Look at God. But you're looking at recovery through an outdated, model of or you're looking at sobriety through an outdated model of recovery is like, I mean, essentially what is being said. And, you get people arguing that like, oh, well, this book was written this long ago. And then they'll start bringing up like the people who wrote the book and why it doesn't apply to them and all of these things. And it's like, dude, it's very clear. Like, I mean, we know what's sober and what's not. Like, coffee. I mean, I argue though, if you're like 100% reliant on coffee and you're like in sobriety, like if you're like, oh, I had a bad day, I didn't have my cup of coffee in the morning, like you're probably like, you know, towing the line of like what sobriety actually is. You know what I mean? Like if
False.
I need, okay,
That's wrong. That's
I'm
incorrect.
just saying.
That's it. Strike that from the
we
record.
just found out some very
Something new.
I never wrecked a car because I drank too much coffee.
My life on
I
coffee
never
is like
smoked
this.
too many
Yeah.
cigarettes that they took me to jail for it. But, you know. But those things, yeah, you know, I don't know. I
If I start shooting it, though, I'll let you know.
shooting
Snorting
caffeine.
the bean.
Jeez, I did that
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, no, I do. You know, someone that I respect, like a fitness guy, he said, I gave up coffee for 30 days, and the only thing that was missing, or the only thing that changed was my joy. The joy was gone. And I'm like, you know what? I'm never quitting coffee. I drink black coffee. I drink nitro cold brew every single morning. Yeah.
What if you didn't have it?
Man, there's a conspiracy against me at Picasso's.
headaches.
The
Coffee.
Lord is working in mysterious
They're trying to break
ways.
me.
Okay,
They've been out.
Man.
For
That's
2
how I stopped
anyway,
smoking squares. That's how I stopped smoking cigarettes. I went to buy Newport 100s. They didn't have any, and I was just like, I guess God doesn't want me to smoke cigarettes. And I bought a vape, but I stopped smoking cigarettes. But that was like the kind of thing where I'm just like, man, this is God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. So I'm not gonna say like that might be the case over here, but you know,
I'm not quitting.
all right.
Never.
And in the DSM, I mean, in the DSM now they have caffeine use disorder. That wasn't in there. That wasn't in the 4th edition. It's in the 5th edition. And, you know, it's all these energy drinks. And I mean, we would meet people who were drinking, you know, 9, 10 of those a day. I mean, that's bad. I mean, that's really bad. That is addiction. Drinking energy drinks. I used to drink Pepsis and Cokes and Mountain Dews and stuff. Like I grew up as a kid drinking 8 or 9 of those a day. Like, I mean, from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed, I was drinking those. And that was bad. I mean, that was horrible. But now you have kids and young adults and whatever, and they're drinking 15, 20 of those energy drinks a day. And that's, I mean, there's a price to pay for that. And that is definitely, I mean, if they stop cold turkey, they might need a hospital visit. So, yeah, I think you are right. I mean, really are. But
No, he's not. He's wrong.
I mean, I had my cup of coffee this morning and... You know, but it's never been a thing too where I drank some coffee and I have to continue drinking and drinking and drinking.
The allergy just keeps
kicked
kicked off.
Yeah, it never worked that way. You know, I drink a cup and a half and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, so moderation.
I drink my morning coffee and then I have an afternoon coffee. And then I have a bedtime coffee.
Controlling and enjoying
I'm
your
just kidding. I have a bedtime coffee.
I wake up.
I have to wake up about 3 and shake.
Get all sweaty and
I'll definitely have an
sick.
afternoon
I need my
coffee today now
yeah.
that we're talking
Just a
about
little bit to
it.
take the
So
edge
I am
off.
triggered over here.
Yeah. I got some beans.
Now you go to ground them up and snort them. I mean, drink them.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
do you grind them up and add water to
As
them?
far as the energy drinks, I know, and like the Walgreens in the city, they card you. They'll card you
Really?
for energy drinks. Yeah.
That's Chicago, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm just.
They like that in Missouri. We don't do
No,
that.
they don't care. Right?
Dude, on the
They don't
way,
care about us.
They don't care about their citizens.
I don't know. On the way here, we saw like
Freedom.
an amazing amount of cops, like insane.
yeah?
So they're, I don't know, like crazy.
Yeah,
They're cracking down on the energy drinks.
They are. They're out there.
Yeah.
It
They knew
was
there was
crazy.
a load of energy drinks coming in.
Coming
from
in.
Missouri.
I had it on a cruise control speed limit the whole time, backloaded up with energy drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, yeah, caffeine. So that's my favorite one though is what about caffeine?
Yeah.
What about nicotine? That's a drug. I'm like, I don't smoke.
Yeah.
I always tell people that you get 2 years to smoke before it's not sober anymore.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
2 years. If you don't quit smoking after 2 years,
That's
you're
true.
not sober.
That
Your
is true.
sobriety date starts over. That's in the DSM 6. It's gonna be coming out.
coming
Coming
out.
out.
Yeah, drop
Tim's writing
drop
it.
in.
Yeah, I'm right. They sought me out because I'm literally the expert.
The nicotine technicality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, especially when we're talking about something like subs, like buprenorphine, like I don't know, man. Buprenorphine is like what led me into doing dope. Like,
Is it really?
Yeah, because I was taking pills, and then like I knew this like clucker down the street, and I'm like, hey man, you know
What's a
anybody?
clucker?
A crackhead, like
Okay.
like a chicken, and kind of pecking around, on the carpets and floors and such. So I had him buy me pills, and he wasn't able to get pills, and then he was like, oh, I can get these pills. They're called Suboxone, and I'm like, what is that? And he's like, oh, they use them. It's like methadone. And I was like, well, methadone sounds scary, but what is this? I know what methadone is and what it's for. So I'm like, I don't want that stuff. But like, what's the subs? And you break them into like 1/16 of a pill and just rail it, and you're rocked for like 18 hours. So, but without like knowing it, I had this like steady intake of opioids, and then like started getting sick. And he wasn't able to get subs one day. And was like, yeah, but I mean, I can get you some dope. That's gonna take care of your sickness. And I'm like, nah, man, no, I'm not touching that stuff. Like, and then a day later, I'm like, all right, well, let me just get one and just see if it helps. And like, spoiler alert, it does help. Makes things better. Yeah. And so then after that, I'm like, well, it's cheaper to just buy this stuff than to keep buying this stuff.
See, that's the thing with me and Suboxone. It's like people say, "Oh, it doesn't get you high if you're not opioid, or if you're opioid naive, it'll get you high, but otherwise it just makes you feel normal. You don't feel anything." And I'm like, I didn't feel anything off dope at the end.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
That's
like
my
I just
argument.
got off sick.
Yes.
It just made me feel normal.
Right,
So I'm like,
is that sober? Right?
Yeah.
If I do one bag every day of dope until it doesn't do anything, but I'm still doing one bag, am I like now on the sober side of the spectrum? You know what I mean?
And like my thing is this: I don't care if someone's like, "I'm on Suboxone, I'm in recovery."
No,
I'm like, yeah. It's like, I'm not trying to make a big deal. I don't really care if they say they're sober either. I like to just joke around about it. But if you ask me, I'd be like, no, you're not. But who cares what I think? You know, like, do you?
I got a question. Now I've never done it. So if you did 2 of them, wouldn't you be more fucked up?
what's up?
More effed up?
There's like a ceiling to it at a certain amount of milligrams with buprenorphine specifically. But
So even if you took 2, it's not going to do any more for you?
it depends on like what.
It does depend.
This guy's got a little bit
So
more
then
background
you
on it.
can get a buzz off of it.
It's
'Cause
really-
I surely would if I could,
Yeah.
Like I'm always gonna if one's gonna make me feel one will be fine, well I'm gonna want 2 then.
Yeah. So here's the thing: your opioid receptors, it's like there's only so much surface to them, and the buprenorphine binds to it, and at some point you've completely basically filled it in. And so I don't know, that could be different for each person, but at some point you've filled that in and no more's coming in.
So now you're wasting it,
Yeah.
basically.
So
Okay.
typically after 2, you're about maxed out. 3, sometimes it takes, 3 8 milligram strips, but at some point it's pointless to even do anymore. You get to a, they say it's got the highest,
Affinity.
the highest affinity.
Yeah.
Whatever affinity.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Hey, Jamie, what's affinity mean?
Hey, pull it up.
No, it binds the hardest to it. And people think it's the naloxone that stops you from getting sick. It's the buprenorphine, or the buprenorphine that's the blocker.
Yeah.
But anyway, so,
We led does that with something. I forgot what, but
what's that?
how we got there. I thought I was going to say something. I completely. It doesn't matter.
You got addicted to opioids through Suboxone.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
Suboxone stole your life, killed your grandmother.
Yeah, exactly. So right now they're outside
in the parking lot. I'll be seeing you in the parking lot.
There's a Suboxone strip doing push-ups outside while you're in here.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I mean, well, Kratom played a huge role in that too. I was one of the first, I was the first person that, I knew what Kratom was, because I was just spending a lot of time.
I heard you discovered Kratom.
I am the original.
You're the Benjamin Franklin of
brought
Kratom.
Kratom to Chicago, and it spread outward through there. I mean, I won't claim that, but I was on Blue Light, and I'm on Eurowid and all these internet pages where they talk about trip reports and what these substances do, and I was getting into Norco and codeine and stuff like that. So when I found out about this stuff, I was like, nah, ain't no way. So this is back in the day, and I bought 2 pounds for $90, and it was the good stuff, whatever. And it was yeah, dude, I was naughty, I was itching, and then it was legit. So I started with that. That's kind of what led me to like a full blown like pill thing, and then the subs, and then the subs to the dope, and then I just kind of hovered around the dope thing for quite some time, as one does. Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy, bro.
So all the gas stations, you know what I mean? Like,
so kratom was your gateway drug?
I mean, there's a lot of things that I was doing, but
now
like,
I see why you're anti-coffee, because kratom and coffee are relatives.
Yeah, exactly. That's okay. That's what this is. Yeah.
Yeah, I see where your coffee hatred comes from.
You almost got me too.
Yeah. So, what's been the difference in your life? It's funny to joke about the past and all this other stuff, but like, you come in, you go to get sober because you're broke, you don't have a phone, you check in.
Yeah.
People are telling you their story, and they're like, I don't know, these guys seem like they're not making this up. Mm-hmm. What happened, and what's it been like? Like, what's been the difference?
In what respect? What difference?
Like how's your life gotten better?
Oh, well.
Like, what did it look like that first day versus what's it like now,
Jeez, that it's night and day, man. I mean, it's so like like I had said, you would not have been able to tell that I like had somewhere to stay. I was like, I mean, so anything that like took time away from like me trying to hustle up some money to get dope was like just not getting done. So like brushing my teeth, showering, brushing my hair, getting a haircut. I had like a long, like bushy, like homeless man beard.
Yeah.
Like one pair of jeans and two hoodies is like that I always talk about that, because like I came in with a black garbage bag of clothes into the treatment center, and I was rough, man. I mean, like I put on some sobriety weight, but I was like the lightest I had ever been. There was a video, and like my cheeks are all sunken in, and I look really, really bad, and like everything else, and like, man, today, overall, like, so this is the main thing, and this is like, in the book where it talks about, we've recovered from a hopeless state of mind and body. A lot of times people read that line and think that it's talking about like, hopelessly alcoholic. And I tend to take it as like just an overall hopelessness, that was like engulfed me in my life. Like there was no happiness to be found. There was nothing to look forward to. There was no like freedom from like where my mind took me. You know what I mean? Like where it talks like the bondage of self. Like I was literally imprisoned by that delusion that like I had to find happiness by managing everything. And I was just a crazy person. I was so incredibly unhappy. Like even like going to the treatment center. And it's like, you hop on the green line to get down to where the treatment center I went to was, and like, and it's like, do I just jump in front of the train? Like, do I go there? Because I know I'm not gonna stay sober. I'm just like prolonging the inevitable. I'm going to die of this thing. Like, what am I even doing? Like, why am I wasting time and putting myself through this? Just utterly, utterly hopeless. There was not like the possibility of a happy day existing in my future. Like that was completely out of the question. And now today, like I had mentioned, if something is feeling like rough or hopeless, like it is for sure just like it's just an indicator. Like, all right, well, I need to bring God into this. Like I'm trying to handle this too much. So I've not found myself feeling hopeless in years and years. Like literally, I took the steps, and like I found a greater purpose in my life. Like it's not all about me. Right. I found like some direction. I got like something to do now. I got something to like to find hope from. Mm-hmm. It doesn't like the entirety of existence no longer lies on my shoulders. Right. And I don't have to figure out what's gonna happen or how I should approach this or whatever. I mean, of course I gotta take actions, but at the end of the day, when things don't go a certain way or whatever, I can like be okay with that, because it's like, all right, God's got a better plan than I've ever had. Mm-hmm. Right. And I need to align myself with that. Like, God, I want to like asking God, like, God, I want what you want for me. You know what I mean? And like, I'm happy now. I never knew what happy was. I never knew serenity. Right. I knew like messed up enough that I could be distracted from how uncomfortable my life was. Mm-hmm. Right. And like, I would settle on that, and I might even think that I was happy, But now I know genuine happiness. I have an actual purpose. Dude, I got my daughter. I left in the hot car for however.
You cracked the window.
I did
You
crack
have
the
some
window.
treats.
I left a sign that said, "Yeah, she's
Her
not
favorite
in danger."
music is
Her
playing.
favorite music. Yeah, no, dude. I have just all the like the material goods, whatever. But I can be okay with whatever it is that I have now, and like just trust that like this is what God has for me. This is what I'm supposed to have, and I can like actually just enjoy those things. Like it's crazy. I'm not gonna try not to like. I'm not gonna tear up on here. I'm not gay, but emotions like that's sus. I gotta break that with a joke. But the reality is like it when they talk about a life beyond your wildest dreams and all of that like corny stuff, right? Dude, beyond my wildest dreams, I am sober right now. I don't want to die. You know what I mean? Like that's the bar was really low when I came in. That was pretty much it. Like I just want to be sober and maybe not wish I was dead. And like I've got that and like so much more, but and like shout out God. It was like I did those things that they suggested, right? I didn't have any other options. My back against the wall, those suggestions were like this is what you do or you continue being miserable. Right? Like that's it. And I tried all the other stuff, all the every variable that I could have tried to like swap out and like mix and match like how I thought my recovery was supposed to look. Like I stopped fighting. I knew that I was hopeless when I came in. Like I knew that there was nothing I could like figure out beyond what I had already tried. And I was open to like doing these things. I don't want to do these things. I don't want to take the steps. I don't want to like ask a man for help. That was a huge one, right? But when I'm like beaten down, the book talks about like the bottle, right? Alcohol had beaten us into a state of reasonableness, right? When there's no fight left in me, I was not going to argue with what suggestions you had given me or what you told me to do. You tell me what to do, right? I'm literally asking. I'm willing to do it because there's nothing, right? There's nothing for me, and man, I'm glad that I got to that place. I could be grateful for like reaching a bottom, which is crazy, right? That was like. As far as I was concerned, like I'm the victim of the world. My life is miserable. And now I'm like thankful to God for even like giving me the opportunity to like talk to other people who are in a similar situation and like offer them something. Yeah. It's crazy, dude.
So your daughter was 6 when you got sober. How's that been different?
Well,
or 7, somewhere in there?
Somewhere around there, about 6. How's it been different? So I think she may have seen me high and not known, like when she was like a little kid. I was not around much. I was not in her life. I was off, doing my own heroin thing for a little bit. And like now, man, dude, that's my homie, bro. Like we kick it. She's also an internet troll.
She get on your page? Not
on my page. Like she's not allowed on Instagram. So she better not have a page that we don't know about. She might, but but. She just trolling, talking crap. We have like the same sense of humor. We constantly joke about like I think I actually had like stole it from one of your memes about like crashing into the minivan with the war veteran father and the pregnant wife and whatever. Yeah. And like I don't know why that's like the ongoing joke that we've had for like a year now. But like anytime we're like driving down the street, like you better be careful, so you don't smash into the minivan with the autistic toddler and the war veteran father. And so like this is the kind of stuff that we laugh. Like it's just like it's cool, man. I don't know. Like she's for real, my buddy. I hate when not hate, but when people like brag about their kids, I'm like, that's really cringe. That's your kid. You're supposed to like it. Like, no, trust me. If I didn't vibe with her, I would be gone. 100%. No, I mean like she's cool, man. That's it.
That's awesome. I'm glad that something I did could bring you guys closer.
Yeah, thank you for saving me. She'll thank you also.
I had a whole series of memes that I made where I would say he nodded out, swerved into traffic. Killed a family of 5, including the war hero father and their 6-month-old baby daughter. And every meme would end with that.
That was the punchline over and over and
over and over and over. And I just kept going. And it just...
And
that brought their family closer.
It did.
So anyone who thought that was wrong of me...
He's doing God's work out here. I actually, like, until this conversation, forgot that you were the one that was doing that. Yeah. I'll have to let her know. Because she'll get a kick out of that.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, man. It's about helping families.
That's what we do here at Dank.
So you're sober, And it's like, man, when you know someone that's sober, it's like, it's like a light to the people that knew us. So your mom was in addiction and saw you.
Yeah.
And she saw that this was working in you. And what happened with that?
That's a whole thing. There's been times where like, you know, we're trying to wrangle her up into a car and get her to detox, and she's like, you know, like, but I need to stop at the store. I need to get over here, you know, and she really thought that there was like no way out or anything like that. Like I said, I was pretty rough. And she wasn't doing so great herself, if I'm being honest, right? And you know, we're both, you know, IV users. You know, I've like lanced her abscesses and stuff, like really cool, like mom son things like that. You know,
Bonding moments.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'd be a good
we're
meme.
very close. I'll show you. I got like there's like pictures of like blood on the ceiling of her crib and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because like we were about it, man. But that was the thing is like. I got well, you know, I did the steps, and I met a woman who was like about the big book, was recovered, was, you know, like good. And mind you, this woman is like I think she was like 22 at the time. And my mom was like, you know, in her mid 50s. And I'm like, call her, she knows what she's talking about. And she's like, there's nothing this little girl could offer or whatever. And then it ended up being that like that hopelessness where she was out of ideas and she was willing to like actually ask for help. You know, she'd been in and out. She'd been on subs. We'd all been on subs. It's funny. Very, you know, we've all like tried the therapy. We've all tried the various medications. We tried the stopping and moderation, and you know, just all the different variables. You know, like we'd been through it, and like I think she was resigned to the fact that she was gonna die from it too. And like, you know, we were in that same place, and I had got better. And not only did I get better, like I started like turning my life around. You know, I started to like actually like, you know, like they started like letting me like get keys to the house again. You know what I mean? They like, you know, things like that's a huge deal when you're like a junkie, you know. But like things like that were happening, and like I started to become like more trustworthy. And, you know, I like made my amends to her, and, you know, I'm wrong for this, was wrong for that, or whatever. And the one thing was like, and, you know, you hear it a lot of times where people are like, just keep doing what you're doing. She said that, but like, and I know she meant it, but like, she really meant it. Cause like, she saw that what I was doing was working, you know, and, you know, it was a few years. I actually had kind of like pulled back entirely from like her and my grandmother at that point. Cause they were like, you know, they weren't doing good. And they didn't want to do good, or they didn't see any other options besides the way that they were living, is really what I think it was. But you know, I kind of like pulled back, and I'm like, yo, you know, I can love you from afar. I can be available if you need me, and if you need help, absolutely, you know. But put in some space, and you know, they just saw that I kept getting better and better, and then saw that I started then like helping people, you know, because like at first, you know, when you first come in, like I don't have a whole lot to offer. You know, I'm still like, you know, rough around the edges and whatever. But then like once like it hit that tipping point where it went from like me being like the sponsee to like being the sponsor. You know what I mean? And like acting like I was somebody who was there to help and like be available to others and like offer that hand. And you know, that like I don't know, they picked up on that, you know, or at least my mom did, and she became curious as to like, you know, how could this possibly work, and then, you know, took those actions, and she got better. You know, I mean, I really that's pretty much it, man. It was just like that example, you know. I mean, and it's almost like the third step prayer says, right? Like, take away my difficulties, may victory over them bear witness, right? Like 100%. And I get like emotional thinking about it, because it's like, that's 100% what God did for me. God took away my difficulties, and like, I didn't push this or anything like that. I was just like that example, that like Abby Thatcher, you know? And the thing is, like, she knew how bad I was. I didn't have to like explain the first step to her. You know, I didn't have to like, you know, I didn't have to like give her a war story or anything like that. Like, she had a very good understanding, right?
She witnessed it.
So like when it came to the coming to believe part, you know, like, she came to believe, like, her second step, I would assume, was probably just like watching how like all of a sudden I went from being this like militant atheist, angry, pissed off, like very sick dude, to now talking about God, having some hope, and like, you know, like being willing to help people as opposed to like take from people. Like she saw that flip, and like there's no denying that like this thing happened, you know, like I got better.
They say like addiction's a family disease and it'll grow through a family, but I also think recovery's a family solution, and that, you know, you see that'll happen. You know, recovery will spread through a family.
Oh, absolutely. Especially they and that's what the book talks about, right? It says like don't shove it down their throat. You know, we go back and we're that example, right? That demonstration of like what God could do for us, and when they start seeing like, yo, he's not getting pissed off at the things that used to piss him off. He's not like tripping about the things that used to trip him out, you know, or even like trying to argue with me or whatever. And like they see that and they're like that's appealing. You know, I don't want to argue with everybody. I don't want to be pissed off about all these things, like, you know, and that's essentially what was happening is like they're seeing these changes firsthand. It's like it's not just you talking about it. This is a demonstration of those principles, like, you know, in day-to-day life. And like it's like, okay, maybe, right?
That's awesome, man. I love that. You know, they talk about attraction rather than promotion. And I tell people all the time, you know, if you keep doing what you're supposed to do, just let people doubt you as long as they want, because there comes a time when a change is undeniable. Like this is not the same person anymore. This is a completely different person. And people that knew us in our addiction, they get curious, like, what'd you do? And man, so one person went to a meeting with me, several others have, and then decided they didn't want it and then died, you know? Many times I've seen that happen. So I'm glad that your mom has grabbed a hold of this thing, and you know, she said she's big book thumping, sponsoring
lots. Yeah, she like coordinates the H&I meetings for like places in Chicago. Like it's I'm so, I mean, okay, be humble, right? Give it to God, right? God did that.
No, you did that.
But like, I saved my mom. I saved her from Suboxone. Right.
Suboxone killed your grandma.
Unfortunately, I wasn't gonna let it happen again. Taking too much from me, Suboxone. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
It's so good. The whole time, I'll try not to cry because I'm already getting a little bit choked up and I don't want to, whatever. But like the whole time you guys are talking and laughing, I'm just thinking like the big book talks about the fellowship that we crave. Like we get that. And like we get friends and stuff, but like the fellowship that I crave is a family. And like you get to break that generational curse. I mean, you are doing that. And so much so that it's not even affecting just forward, but backwards. And like that is so powerful. So powerful. So I'm sorry to add the tears, but man, that's so beautiful. And like your daughter's life, like you changed the trajectory of her life and you gave her dad. And that is so, so beautiful. So I just commend you for that. Thank you for sharing so much and all the things. So sorry.
No, thank you.
Get closer to the camera. Cry into the camera.
We zoom in and we get the one down the cheek, you know.
And she's watching, you know. She's watching what's happening. She sees it. It's working in her. Recovery's working in everyone around you, man.
No, well, that's I mean, that's how that goes.
Isn't that great?
And God is so kind because, like, He lets us have that victory. He calls it our victory, and then we get to say, no, like it is yours, and I'm so grateful, and He'll just keep pouring out. Sorry,
yeah.
Speak it.
One of the things too is like conversation, like we're like openly talking about God. Like there's like it's cool people that are like talking about like actual cool, you know, like they're not like the youth minister or whatever. You know what I mean? Like actual like cool. I mean, like, well, you're probably one of the cool ones. You know? but you know what I mean? Like
like we're in an alley talking about it. That's like like we are.
Well, the same conversation could occur like smoking cigarettes in a parking lot. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. Where it's like this is like we're like legit. You can be a legit person, like have God at the center of your life, and like actually like be someone that's like tolerable. You know what I mean? Like my feet are on the ground. I am a human being. I make mistakes. I do all those things. I don't act like I'm a saint or anything like that. And in fact, I'm of better service to people when I'm like not a saint, because like you know what I mean. Like if I'm a human being, like you still know that like I am of this earth. I'm not like above you, holier than thou, or anything like that. Like I'm just like anybody else that's dealing with this thing.
It's the raw version of spirituality.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
We like it raw, so.
Yeah. There's a book, The Spirituality of Imperfection.
Okay.
It's I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to go into the whole thing, but it's profoundly spiritual when people get to see the humanity behind people. Like you said, all these people, because when I got sober, I thought everyone was like perfect. I thought everyone in the meeting was like really good. Yeah. All of them. And then you realize, then you struggle and you're like, well, man, I'm struggling. There must be something wrong with me. Versus like, no, everyone struggles all the time. Anxiety is a part of life. Depression is a part of life. And then you learn like, oh, okay, I can just be depressed for a day or a few hours. And I don't have to sit here and wallow in it and try to battle through it. You know, I can just be honest with people without them having to freak out about it, you know?
Well, I think that's like one of the greatest, like as far as like, bro, I mean, like I've learned to be friendly. I've learned to be like personable. Like this is all like in recovery. It's you know what I mean? Like before, I'm very introverted and like was like very mean and like, you know, vindictive, all the bad stuff. And like then I'm like finding like there's people that like I can like talk to about like my problems and they don't like freak out or think that I'm a horrible person. You know, this is where I started to like make friends, was in recovery. You know what I mean? Because like I can actually be my true self, not feel like being vulnerable was a you know, a liability. You know, I can like speak openly, and it just is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? We find out things about people that's like, oh wow, yeah, you're a mess too, man. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it just is what it is. And we're all here. We're all on the same path. Like, I mean, I try to just do what God will have me, right? And I mean, you know, I even saying that aloud, like I would wanted to fight me years, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like me from years ago to be like, oh, bro, you weird as hell. Like, what are you talking about all this God stuff for? But like now it's like, man, it's true.
Yeah. God's like, Billy, I have to save you so you can troll people through your recovery meme page.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
Absolutely. Well,
I'm so glad he spared you for that purpose.
There's still the part of the book that like I've like this is how I like reconcile it all. It's like where it says like we can laugh at those who think spirituality the way of weakness. Yeah. Right. So the book tells us that we can troll atheists. I'm just saying. That's
we can troll them.
We can laugh at them. Yeah.
Such a Sally.
Yeah.
Those Sallies.
Yeah, man. I mean.
That's funny. That's good stuff, bro. That you control them.
The book says, yeah,
we're allowed master.
To. Yeah. We can troll them, is what I meant.
We can troll.
Dude.
Like to troll them.
The ultimate dad joke.
Control.
Oh wow.
Can troll.
Wow, dude. Them. Yeah.
So Ashley, on the way here, I'm like, Ashley, do you even know this dude's page? You got to look at it. And she did, and she was busting up laughing. How do you? Honestly, dude, I think it's brilliant. I think it's like some of the best memes ever. How do you come up with this stuff, bro? Like, for example, what was the one we were laughing about, Ashley?
Well, the dog one was hilarious, but also the one about the resentments.
It says, your dog is not afraid of fireworks and is addicted to Xanax. Like your dog isn't... Your dog's not scared of the fireworks. It's just trying to manipulate you into giving it drugs.
Yeah, well, I know how I got my scripts. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I went on to Wikipedia. I looked up like anxiety. I looked up panic attacks. I saw what they prescribed Xanax for, and I knew how to act when I went into the doctor's office. And I assume that this is what people's canines are doing across the country, and it's an epidemic.
The meeting maker dogs.
The meeting maker dogs. Yeah,
they know how to manipulate their way into
exactly.
Xanax.
And then they're like, "Oh, but it's a prescription, so it's sober." Or are you my doctor? Like, you know.
I tried to do that to get Adderall, and I got prescribed antidepressants, so it doesn't always work.
Yeah, they go to Alipet.
Some
alcoholics.
Yeah, that's
Alipet,
amazing.
Adult pets.
And they got Alipet.
Yeah, adult pets of alcoholics.
That's funny.
Yeah,
poor thing.
Poor babies.
You know, when I was using, they would never prescribe me opioids, no matter how hard I tried. Now that I've been sober, it's like,
yeah,
you need some Vicodin for that? Like, I just have a headache.
Right. Some Dilaudid.
They really trust me now. Like ibuprofen's good.
There's places in St. Louis, they're like, you walk in the door, they're like, Xanax.
Yeah.
Like, they know you.
Dude, I'm here to freaking pick up a patient.
Yeah.
You look
like a Xanax guy.
Yeah.
Hey, have some Suboxones, tell your friends.
Yeah, right.
So how do you come up with this stuff? Where do you come up with your content?
Man, So I know we've had this conversation before. It depends on like the meme itself. There are definitely some that are born of resentment, where like, I don't want to like inventory or like, you know what I mean? Like I can just like make a meme and then get the person who I'm mad at made fun of by thousands of people, and now like I'm justified in having this resentment. That's one of the biggest things, because those are the ones that I'll hold on to.
Yeah.
So I got to put that out somewhere, right? It's like this ambiguous way of like roasting people from my real life and putting them out there. Other stuff like, I'm just like, yo, this is absurd. And like, I don't know, like we talked about this. I don't know a lot of times if anything's going to be funny. This is why I'll like shoot you stuff. Cause I'm like, hey, is this funny? And like, people are like, no, that's stupid. That happens a lot. But sometimes they're like, actually, yeah, that's funny. And I think it's stupid. And I'll just post, random thoughts that come about. I get inspired by, by like other memes. And like we were talking about like I'm not diagnosed as autistic, but I might be like meme autistic, where I like get the vibe of a meme and then I recreate that same vibe with like recovery terms and like, you know what I mean, like things that I've learned in recovery, and like I'm able to like flip stuff. And that's like, I think the secret to memes in the first place is that it starts with like a pre-existing image or a pre-existing idea that then gets taken out of context and then put into a context that works for like what I'm trying to use it for, which is recovery.
Right.
So it's just flipping stuff.
Dude, we've had some good ideas that we could never post about.
No, it like should not be spoke about.
We can't
openly.
even talk about.
No,
it.
This goes back to the DMs and like up with that. Like no, just.
I'll throw an idea out there because I'm like, I would never post this.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, but would he post it? Because he's a little more... Because here's the thing. Like, I did the interview with the New York Times and BuzzFeed, and like my actual name and who I was came out.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I can't post that because people know who I am. Mm-hmm. Or they could at least find out who I am.
Yeah.
So I should probably chill.
Bit of digging.
So I'll send a message to Billy. What do you think about this? You can. Oh, you're gonna post that? No, you can post it.
That has happened. I'm trying to think when it was like one of the more recent times that has happened, but no, yeah. I mean, that's definitely one. Like, especially like just other people, and like you did mention, like the fellowship we crave. I've found like exactly that. Just like in the recovery meme community, like the people that are like, it's like wacky, you know what I mean? Like addicts and alcoholics who are like actually funny and like really serious about their recovery. You know what I mean? Like it's a rarity, but the people are out there, and it is just like getting outside of myself and like talking to people, like actually like being willing to like make those connections and stuff. But like, man, I've absolutely found that with like, the DRM back in the day when I was like heavy on Facebook, but now even on like Instagram and stuff, where there's just like, the random like meme admin chats, Yeah, there's two factions now. There's like the really woke ones, and then like the realistic ones. And I'm just playing.
There is factions.
There is. Absolutely.
I'm cool with them all.
Yeah.
But man, that's it's good to hear your story, man. And I think I just like to joke about this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I just like to just laugh, man. Find a reason to laugh, but it's deadly serious.
Oh, 100%.
Why we show up for our own recovery. Mm-hmm. And anyone who's ever messaged my page asking for help, dude, I go out of my way to help them.
Oh yeah.
I'm like I'm the one that made you feel comfortable enough to reach out.
Yeah.
Dude, you're my kind of people. What's up? I mean, do whatever I can to help you. It's deadly. And then a lot of people are shocked, like, whoa, you actually know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I've been working in recovery for 12 years.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, man, I know what I'm talking about. This is, well, you said this about this. I'm like, dude, these are jokes. I don't, this ain't, I'm just joking around.
Yeah.
I'll help you.
Yeah.
I had a guy message me because I made the story about what bothers you most in meetings. And this guy messages me attacking me. He's like, just leave if you don't like anything in the meetings. You're a loser.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I'm like, you have 8 followers and you're complaining in a meme page's inbox.
Right. Yeah.
Go to him. Call your sponsor. It's like,
Jeez.
I don't need your invisible God to help me.
Sky
Jeez, well,
Daddy.
pray for me then.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Right, obviously,
Shame on
I
you.
need it as far as
But
you're
anyway,
concerned. Yeah.
the point is, it's deadly serious why we show up to do this, and we get to laugh and we get to joke. But I think the main goal is to just try to help someone. You know,
Yeah.
even if it just takes them out of their head, just laughing.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the big thing too. Like, I mean, I've sponsored a lot of guys. Not all of them have made it through. So which probably is not a shock to you.
Yeah. All mine made it.
Every single one
Every
of
guy
my
sponsored.
What are you talking about? This? Yeah, Dr. Bob
must be doing it
says,
wrong. Anyway,
like 5,000. Anyway, yeah. No, but I'm like, even if I help one person, you know what I mean? Like, even if scrolling a stupid meme like buys them some time that gives them the opportunity to like maybe think about doing something different, or maybe even like laugh at themselves and be like, wow, I am actually a crazy person, whatever. Like, even one person, like, at all, like I've done good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not a numbers game or anything like that. Like, literally, if I've helped one person, even find their way into the rooms, and I'll shoot them a link to here. This is where you find meetings in your area. Here's somebody who's solid out that way, right? This is a good big book study or whatever. Like, even for just one person, and I know I know that has happened.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing, right? Having this network of people, and the people that follow me are generally like big book people, because I do post some really niche stuff where like this is specifically for you guys, you know what I mean? And like, so I do have some like really solid people in recovery that like follow me. So when I like ask like, hey, any good meetings over here? You are you able to sponsor in your area or whatever? I give people help all the time. I think that's really like, besides the dumpster fires and like triggered meeting makers, actually like helping people and steer them in the right direction where they might not have ever been interested in AA or recovery, and then like see like this is actually kind of funny, okay, all right, I'll scroll a little bit,
Yeah, that's good, man. So, Billy, where can people find you?
Oh man, that's such a crazy question to be asked. I just, from like not being anyone with like nothing to offer the world to being like, hey, so you could follow me at the Spiritual Malady on Instagram. It's cringe, sorry. At the Spiritual Malady. And
you sell shirts on there?
No, not anymore. I took them down.
You don't?
No, not anymore. I did like very briefly. I'm not trying to do anything as far as like make money off of this. I feel weird about that. Like, God gave me this.
But you let us pay you to come here.
Yeah, well, I needed the gas. It was a little bit of a ride. Come on. No, for free and for fun. I just post memes. I talk about, my experience there. So again, and then the Spiritual Malady, no spaces, SPIRITUALMALADY. The Spiritual, I don't want to spell it again. The Spiritual Malady.
Follow that page. He's super funny. You know about it now.
Yeah. Well, I've known about it too, but I did just start following today. I'm so sorry, but
thank you. I appreciate that.
Super funny. Follow him. Dude, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, my pleasure, man.
Thanks for making the drive. It's been fun hanging out with you, getting to know you, and I relate so much to your story.
Yeah, man.
So that's it for today's episode of the Dank Recovery Podcast. Thanks to Billy from the Spiritual Malady. If you related to anything in this episode or you're struggling right now, you can reach out to us directly, Timothy at dankrecovery.com or at Dank Recovery on Instagram. Please like and subscribe and drop a comment with any questions you have. Happy birthday to all the birthdays and welcome to all the newcomers. Thanks to Kevin and Ashley and Billy for showing up. That's all I got.
Thanks, Moose.